y'all, welcome back to another episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. If you're new here, this is your space to heal, evolve, and step into that new version of you who's always known you could be the confident, peaceful, self aware, glowed up version inside and out. Today's episode is a little bit deeper, okay? We're talking about rewriting the story that you tell yourself because the way you speak to yourself, the way you see yourself, the narrative running in the background of your mind, that shapes everything: your confidence, your relationships, your peace, and your potential. So, if you've ever caught yourself thinking, oh, I'm not enough, I always mess things up, or that could never be me, this episode is for you. Or if you know somebody who thinks like that, send this to them because we are about to rewrite these stories and reclaim our power. Okay, y'all? Let's dive into it. All right, y'all. I want you to ask yourself, what story have you been living by? Whether you realize it or not, we've all been living some kind of story. It's that quiet little voice in your head that's been narrating your whole entire life for you. You know, the one thing that says, I'm too sensitive, I always get left behind, I'm not smart enough, I have to do everything alone. And does that ring a bell to you? Because same, okay? And the crazy thing is that most of these stories didn't even start with us. They started way back when, maybe with something or somebody said to us when we were younger, like maybe a parent or a teacher told you to stop being dramatic. So now you downplay all of your emotions. Or maybe someone compared you to someone else and made you feel like you would never measure up. Or maybe you had to grow up a little too fast. So now you think being independent means you're never allowed to ask for help. That's me. Like, I grew up very independent. And I feel like when I need help, I am afraid to ask for it. I never ask for help. And that's something I've been working on. So I can definitely relate to that one. And over time, those moments, those tiny comments that you're telling yourself, they turn into beliefs. And those beliefs, they become your story. You start repeating all these things to yourself over and over and over so often that it just becomes your truth, even if it's not actually true. The fact that you're telling yourself something, you're going to believe what you're telling yourself. So you're going to end up walking around with this unspoken script in your head. I always attract the wrong people, or I'm bad with money, or I can never catch a break. Like, it's just who you are. But it's not who you are, y'all. It's who you've been taught to think you are. See the difference there? Those old stories, they don't have to keep playing. You're not a character trapped in someone else's book anymore. You're the author now, okay? You get to pick up the pen and say, hold up, I don't like how my story ends. I'm gonna flip it. Like, imagine your life as a movie for a second, and you're the main character and the writer. Would you keep writing yourself as the side character who never wins? Or would you finally give yourself that breakthrough moment, that glow up montage, that plot twist where everything changes? It's time for a rewrite. You don't have to keep replaying the same storyline that was written out of pain, fear, or survival mode. You're allowed to edit. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to say, that's not my story anymore. So before we move on, I just want you to think about it for just a second and just think, what story have I been living by? And what if starting today, you decided to tell a new one? Okay, so now that we've touched a little bit on the stories that we live by, let's go a little bit deeper into it, okay? I want you to take a second and think about an area of your life where you keep seeing the same pattern show up. Like, it's giving, why does this keep happening to me energy? Maybe it's your relationships where no matter how many people you date, you keep ending up with the ones who can't communicate or only give you half of what you give them. Or maybe it's your career where you play it safe, even though deep down you know you're capable of so much more. Or Maybe it's how you see yourself, where you pick yourself apart in every aspect of your life. Every time you look in the mirror, even when everyone is saying how amazing you are and amazing you look, I want you to really pause and ask yourself, what story am I telling that is keeping this pattern alive? Because behind every pattern is a belief. For example, if you keep dating emotionally unavailable people, maybe your story is, I have to earn love, or I'm always too much for people. If you find yourself maybe playing small at work, maybe your story is, if I shine too bright, people will leave, or success isn't meant for someone like me. And if you're constantly anxious about the future, maybe your story is, good things don't last for me, or every time I get happy, something bad happens. Yikes, y'all. Yikes. Because once you say it out loud, it's different. You're like, wait, why the fuck am I telling myself that? But that's where healing starts, in that very uncomfortable little truth moment where you realize, oh wow, maybe it's not them anymore. Maybe it's the story I've been telling myself that's just holding me here. And listen, there is no shame in that, okay? We all have those moments. I've had a fair share of theirs too, where I thought, why do I keep ending up in the same situation? It's like the whole world is against me. And it finally like clicked in the old noggin here. The world wasn't against me. It was the story I was subconsciously living out and subconsciously painting out for myself. Once you see that, you can't unsee it, okay? You start catching yourself mid thought, like, hold up, wait a second. That's not the truth. That's just my old programming talking, okay? Thoughts are not facts. Remember that. They're just thoughts, okay? That's the power of awareness, babe, okay? Because you can't heal what you're not willing to acknowledge. And once you acknowledge it, you're already halfway there to rewriting the whole entire story. So maybe just write it down. Like when you catch yourself thinking like that, maybe put it in your journal. Think about one area that is in your life that you feel like you're so stuck on, like repeat. Ask yourself, what's the story behind this pattern? What am I still believing that isn't serving me anymore? Because once you can name it, you can change it. And that's when things start to change. That's when you start to grow. That's when you just glow the fuck up. It all starts with acknowledgement, and then you can go from there. If you're not acknowledging something, how can you change it? You can't change what you're not aware of. So the first step is to really think about it and figure out what the issue is. Okay, y'all. Now that you've recognized your old story, let's talk about how to actually rewrite it. Because awareness is amazing. It's all fine and good, but now we're gonna boss the fuck up and actually do something about it. So, the first step is naming the old story. Literally call it out. Say, the story I've been telling myself is da 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 da. Finish the sentence. It might sound like, the story I've been telling myself is that I'm hard to love, or the story I've been telling myself is that I'm never the chosen one, or maybe the story I've been telling myself is that if I slow down, everything will fall apart. And I know it can really sting a little bit and hurt to say it out loud, but we can't heal something we won't admit. And once it's out there, it loses some of its power. Now, step two, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or did I just pick this up along the way? Is it a thought or is it a fact? Because most of the time, the story didn't come from you. It came from someone projecting their fears onto you, or from a moment where you felt small, scared, or maybe a little unseen, and your brain made it mean something about your worth, and it's not. But here's the little plot twist, okay? Because just because it felt true once doesn't mean it's true now. You've evolved, you've learned, you've healed. You are not the same version of you who wrote that story when you were on survival mode. Now, step three, rewrite it This is the best part. This is the fun part. This is your author moment, okay? You get to grab that metaphorical pen and write a whole new story, one that actually aligns with who you are becoming. So instead of I'm hard to love, you write it as I am easy to love because I love myself deeply first. Instead of I always get left, say I attract people who choose me the way I choose myself. Or instead of saying I'm bad with money, you say, I'm learning to build wealth with confidence and with ease. See the difference? It's all about how you say things because it's so powerful. Once you say something out loud, your brain finally starts to believe it, and your words literally create your reality. Okay? Now, step 4, we reinforce it. This is where most people drop the ball. They say it once, maybe twice, and then go right back to their old patterns. But no, we're not doing that anymore. You are listening to this right now because you want to make a change. So we're going to make a change together, okay? You've got to stop feeding your new story until it becomes natural, okay? Read it every morning. Say it out loud while you're doing your skincare routine or getting ready for work. Write it on sticky notes and put it on your mirror if you have to. I even have mine as reminders on my phone sometimes. Like every day at a certain time, a reminder will go off. And that helps too because repetition rewires your brain. You can't just plant the seed, you've got to water it. And let me tell you something, the more you speak your new story, the more you become it. You start walking different, you start showing up different. You start attracting people and opportunities that match this new version of you. And one day you're going to catch yourself in a situation that used to trigger you, and you'll realize, wait, I'm not reacting the same way that I used to. I'm not that person anymore. Then you'll know that rewrite is working. Because it's not just about saying new words, it's about embodying them and believing them. So if you take anything from this episode, let it be this: you are not the story you were given, you are the story you're writing right now. Okay, it's starting to get a little powerful in here, y'all, because now that you've named your old story and started to rewrite it, it's time you fully own the fact that you are the author of your own life. Like, seriously, no one gets to hold that pen anymore. Not your past, not your ex, not your parents, not your fear. You. You're the writer, the narrator, the main character, all of it. And the moment you realize that, everything changes because for so long, you've probably been living life like it was just happening to you. Like you were stuck in this plot line that you didn't choose, but you're not stuck. You were just in the wrong chapter. And the best part is you can just turn that page whenever the fuck you want. You don't owe loyalty to the version of you that was just trying to survive. You can choose peace over proving yourself. You can choose softness after years of being in defense mode. You can choose to build a life that feels safe, even if chaos used to feel familiar to you. That's when becoming the author of your life really means it's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about realizing that you always have agency. I know it's not easy because, sometimes the old story is comfortable, right? It's predictable. It gives us a sense of control. You already know how the story ends, even if it hurts. But the new one, the one where you're healed and confident and walking in your power, the one that's unfamiliar, and unfamiliar can feel scary, but that's where your next level lives. That's where your glow up actually happens, not the comfort zone, but in the rewrite. So here's what I want you to start asking yourself. If I were rewriting the story of my life and I knew it would work out, how would I show up differently today? Like, seriously, think about it. Would you still be chasing after people who don't choose you? Would you still be afraid to post your content, to speak up, to go after your dream? Would you still shrink yourself in rooms you were meant to lead in? Hell no! You would be walking with your head held high, showing up like the person you're becoming. You'd be making choices from confidence instead of fear. And let's be fucking real. that version of you already exists. They're just waiting for permission to let out. They're sitting there like, when are we going to do this? When are we going to stop setting stories that don't fit anymore? So pick up that pen and let you write the next chapter. And don't worry, y'all. It's going to be messy at first. All good stories are. You don't have to have a perfect draft. You just have to start. You just have to decide this next chapter is about me, choosing peace, purpose, and power. Because once you step into that author energy, your whole reality starts to align. You'll start noticing little things and opportunities that just feel right and people who are matching your energy. You're gonna feel peace where there used to be chaos, and that's not luck. That's the universe responding to the new story that you're telling. So, the next time a life tries to hand you a little old plot twist, I just want you to pause and say, no, not in this chapter. That is an old chapter. You're not reliving the same story. You're writing a new one. All right, y'all, let's wrap this up a little bit because that was a lot today. I gave you a lot of work to do, okay? We talked about calling out your old story, facing it, and then rewriting it with love and intention. And I know that's not always easy, but you're doing the work most people avoid. That's powerful. That's healing and that is growth. So here's your challenge for this week. You know, I love to leave you with something that you can actually do because I want to give you tips and tricks on how to actually get to what I'm telling you. You know what I mean? So write down one old story that's been holding you back, the one that's been sitting very heavy in your heart. Maybe it's about love or your worth or what you think you can't have. Underneath it, write your new story, the one that aligns with who you're becoming. Make it strong, make it confident, make it yours. Like, I am loved effortlessly. I am deserving of peace. Everything that's meant for me flows to me easily. And read it out loud each and every day this week. Seriously, while you're getting ready in the morning for work, while you're brushing your teeth, while you're on your lunch break, maybe even driving your car, whatever, as long as you do it, you need to read your new story. You need to constantly read it because repetition rewires your reality. You're teaching your mind a new way to see yourself. And I promise you, once you start speaking that new story, life starts responding differently. You'll start catching yourself showing up like the version of you that you've been manifesting. You'll stop entertaining things that don't align. You'll walk from rooms differently, not from ego, but from peace. Because you're no longer that person who is begging for a seat at the table. You are the person who built the table. And just remember, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are just in your rewrite era. This is the best part of the movie where everything starts clicking into place. So give yourself a little grace while you grow. The glow up isn't just about how you look, okay? It's about how you see yourself, how you speak to yourself, and how you believe in what's possible for you. You're doing better than you think. And the fact that you're listening to this right now, that's proof that your healing version is already on the way. All right, y'all. That's all I have for you today. I want to thank you for hanging out with me and for showing up for yourself. And if this episode hit home, send it to a friend who might need a little reminder to rewrite their story too. And as always, keep glowing, keep growing, and remember, your story isn't over. It is just getting good. I love you guys so much. I will see you next week. Bye.